Hello and welcome back to Paranormal NL Podcast, located in Newfoundland and Labrador, NL, Canada. I'm your PNL host and founder, Jen Noseworthy. Thank you for tuning in to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 FM on that Gulf. Watch and listen to PNL Podcast every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on UPRNTalkRadio.com. For tonight's Paranormal Among Us special on UPRN segment number 77. I've got a special guest waiting backstage from Missouri, USA, who I'll bring on shortly. Now it's time to grab your favorite paranormal drink, a few spooky munchies, and get ready for the show tonight. Paranormal NL Podcast is sponsored by the BOG Team. It's a boots on ground BOG Team doing historical paranormal investigations in Newfoundland, Canada. If you like what you hear and you find yourself coming back to watch PNL, smash that subscribe button. Gratitude, it all helps. And also, grab your PNL Podcast and BOG Team merch at TeePublic on our Linktree Paranormal NL Podcast. All BOG Team music heard in the intro and the exit is available for download and use on all social media and streaming music platforms. Watch PNL Podcast every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on UPRN with a YouTube live chat watch party with myself, your host, Jen, and a few PNL BOG Team members. PNL Podcast believes in supporting international paranormal networking and highlighting global paranormal people, places, and things all over the world. Now, before we get on with the show tonight, I want to give a little shout out and a nod to tonight's guest, the person who introduced me to tonight's guest, and I'm going to give a shout out to Third Eye Live Podcast, Mr. Sir Bryan Bowden and Mark Eddy. Now, both Bryan and Mark are PNL Podcast Alumni-Network members. Bryan was previously on PNL in Season 2, Episode 6, and Episode 63, and Season 3, Episode 4. And both Mark and Bryan were also on PNL Season Episode 53. But you got to give a big shout out to them. And they introduced me to the Island of Misfits. Now, most of the Island of Misfit folks are actually PNL Podcast Alumni-Network members themselves, and they have already been on PNL in Season 3 and Season 4. Check out all of their episodes, such as Texas Front Porch, The Blondes and Booze, Relic Films, BMR, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, Paranormal Portal, and our guest tonight from Paranormal Among Us, which I'm going to pull on the stage right now, all the way from Missouri, USA. Welcome, Paranormal Paul.
Hey, Jen. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to the show, and welcome to UPRN. For the folks listening in all over the world on UPRN, do you want to give a shout out to talk about a little bit who you are?
Yeah. First off, a big, huge thank you to Sir Bryan Bowden. He is one of the nicest, best guys that I have ever met. I will be forever connected to him with a story that I will get into here a little bit later on. He's just a fantastic guy and a wealth of information. He's one of those guests where you can just ask one question and pretty much just sit back and listen to his answers. It's just incredible.
Big shout out to Bryan and Mark from Third Eye Live. If you haven't gotten to listen to their show, check it out. And he's been on a lot of other podcasts too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So tell us more about yourself. What got you into the paranormal, Paul?
What got me into the paranormal? That's kind of a fun story. I was going through a knee replacement back in January of 2023. And, I've been watching all the TV shows and everything and really kind of gotten into it and stuff and really found it interesting. And I had been doing podcasting for a few years. And before that, I was doing a little bit of broadcasting. And I kind of wanted to get back into broadcasting, and each podcast that I had before was never really took off. And I thought each and every one of them was going to do well, and it just kind of flopped. And then I was recovering. I just heard I don't know if that was you or something. Whenever I do a show, I usually have some kind of weird things happen. So just to keep your eyes and ears peeled for things.
Well, I've got my cat ball here. That's about it, because I was doing a show the other night with Filthy from SOR, and we were talking about cats. I don't have much other paranormal stuff with me. It's all in the bedroom.
That blonde doll that I have behind me back here, she moved one time on an episode. So anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I was recovering. I was laying in bed doing my exercises and stuff, and I somehow I got a hold of a book by a guy named T. Krulos about Mothman, and I'm reading it. And at this point, I had never got out of my comfort zone and reached out to an author or anybody like that to kind of explore things. So at the end of the book was his email address and stuff. And I sent him an email and said, man, this was, really good book. I really enjoyed it. Mothman, I had never really heard of it at that point. And, I was kind of kicking around the idea of starting a paranormal podcast. And, he emailed me back. We talked a little bit. And he said, instead of thinking about it, just do it. And I'm like, okay, good point. So about March of 23, I started Paranormal Among Us on YouTube. And, it's grown, and I've had a great time, and I've met all kinds of interesting, wonderful people along this journey. I've done investigations and stuff, and it's just a blast doing, and I've learned so much, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon, and just having a great time. And then I met
you've been really good with it. I think I read somewhere that your first EVP was over at Ashmore. Did you want to talk a little bit about Ashmore?
So
you get scratched, things thrown at you, unexplained Class A audible voices.
Mm-hmm. Ashmore Estates used to be an old poor farm, and that's where people would live, and then they would work on a farm to get food and everything. In case you guys didn't know, so that was my first investigation with Blondes and Booze. Krista was there. I hadn't met Brandy then at that point. And it's funny, Krista lives just like 40 minutes away from me here in St. Louis, Missouri. So we're a lot closer now.
Big shout out to Blondes and Booze.
Blondes and Booze.
Yeah,
awesome
they're
people.
Part of the Island of Misfits.
Island of Misfits. So she had like a little mini conference at Ashmore, and she asked me to kind of do a little talk. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't really do that, but okay, I'll give it a shot. And the conference went fine. I did a live show from there. And while we were doing a live show, there was a pebble that was thrown. Not at us, but that's when I used to shave my hair. It's different now. A little pebble got thrown. I'm like, did you do that? No one else did that. So no one else was in the room with us, but that happened. And then later that night, we had we carried the dead bell around with us, and we had a couple dings going off on that, and that was cool. And then there's this room down there. It's a boiler room. I was down there with another gal, and there's supposedly a spirit down there who doesn't like women being in that room. So I went down a few steps, had a dead bell there. And I'm recording and everything, and I'm asking all the questions. Is there anybody in here? Is there somebody that doesn't like women down here? I heard a knock or something in another room right down from where I was, so I kind of walked down there. I didn't see anything. And then I asked a few more questions. Is there anybody in here with us? And you can hear on the video after I recorded, there's other people in different areas of the Ashmore Estates doing other things, doing their investigation and stuff. So I'm wrapping it up down in the boiler room, and as I'm walking up the steps, I didn't hear this at first. I'd only heard it when I played the video back. I heard this very creepy old voice whisper, "We're watching." And I'm like, wow, that was really super cool. I remember listening
I
or
love it
watching
when
this.
you hear a class A,
Yeah.
you know, and you kind of look around and go, did anybody else hear that? Or am I
Uh-huh.
just hearing things, right?
I mean, it was, I mean, I didn't hear it then, but I mean, it was clear as day on the video. And I clipped it and I sent it to Krista. I'm like, you got to hear what I just heard. And like, she's like, yeah, man, that was awesome. So, that was really cool. Especially, my first investigation and stuff to hear that and kind of get validation that, someone was there watching us and
Yeah.
something was down there with us.
You
So
kind of
that
get
was
hooked
pretty
on
cool.
it, right? When you hear different stuff and
Yeah,
experience different things, just makes you
100%.
more curious and want to find out more about it, right?
I mean, it's, I kind of liken it to getting tattoos. Once you get
Yeah.
one, you have to
Yeah.
get another one. And once you
They're
do an
just like
investigation,
potato chips, right?
yeah,
You can't just
you
have
can't eat
one.
just one. No, no.
That's right.
You have to have half the bag. But no, I mean, that's how I was right after that. And I remember the next day or so, I either texted or called Krista. I'm like, when are we going again? Well, let's do this again. This was fun. And I've been a few other places. Unfortunately, I can't get out as much as I want, but it certainly is fun. And it's, at first I'm walking at Ashmore, I'm walking through these halls and I'm like, okay, this is way out of my comfort zone. I don't like scary things. I never thought I'd be walking through a dark, I don't want to say dilapidated building, but just kind of it didn't really have a negative feel to it at all. It just looked creepy.
So those dolls that you have behind you, have you ever had any experience with, something attached to a doll or something like that?
No. And those things are just actual Halloween decoration props that I use. And I thought they looked kind of cool for a little background in the studio here.
Yeah.
And, instead of putting them up in the attic, might as well put them to use. And that's an alien that's in her arms. And I had a green screen, and I had it still on my StreamYard thing. So the green screen's kind of coming through on that. So that's actually a sunrise coming through on that UFO that you're seeing on the screen there. So
what get you into the UFO stuff?
I've always believed it. Ever since I was a little kid.
Are you an X-File fan?
I've never seen that show.
No.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Don't tell me. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I started watching it with my wife late last year.
Okay.
And we kind of stopped. But I'm getting back into it. I'm watching it again. I'm going to watch it again. But that's just something that I've never seen one until last year, I think. But I've never seen one when I was a kid. I've always loved just kind of laying on the grass or in a pool or whatever and just staring up into the sky like, okay, what's out
the
there?
Milky Way and all that good stuff. And the Big Dipper pointing out all the stars.
I'm in St. Louis, so there's a lot of light pollution around here, and the sky isn't the greatest to.
Oh, you got to go
UFO
to one of
watch.
these dark sky association places. They're usually in big national parks, and they have special lights and everything. So everything is really dark, and then they have these different viewing stations that you can like view the planets and stuff. If you haven't been, check it out. It's awesome if you love stargazing.
So there's a place out here that we go to a lot. It's called the Mayas Asylum. And it's actually close to Krista, about an hour away from me. And that has everything. It has a haunted asylum. There's cryptid activity in the woods around there. And one night, I wasn't there for this, but one night they saw like 20 different strange, unexplained lights in the sky. And the one time, I've been there like 3 or 4 times, and one of the times I was there, I saw a lot of white orbs or something in the trees around behind the building. And that we got another story on that one. And then that night, it was a clear sky, and I remember looking up into the distance, and I see this light coming at me. It's still quite a ways away. It kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it kind of sat there for a little while. and then I'm watching it, and I can't take my eyes off it. Something keeps telling me to keep watching it, and then all of a sudden you see it just kind of go, like in like a split second, it was gone. And I'm like, and a few other people, I pointed it out to a few other people, and they said, yeah, they saw it too. And
was this around the time when like everybody was seeing the orbs?
I think that was a different time.
Gotcha.
I believe it was a different time. But, there's a lot of crazy howls that we heard one night. So back last September, we had a conference in Richmond, Missouri, which is just outside of Kansas City. And then coming home, we took a bunch of people to Emmaus, and we did an investigation there. Me, BMR, Greg Ogles, Natalie was in there. I think just the four of us were in the asylum, but the Krista and Bryan Bowden were back at the Airbnb still in the same location with us. But
big shout out to Greg from Relic Films and Third Eye Live again.
You never know what's going to happen when Greg's around. He's an awesome guy, but you never know what's gonna come out of his mouth when he's around. He's a hilarious guy, excellent filmmaker, and I'm proud to say he's a good friend. But Mr. Moist. But anyway,
why do they call him Mr. Moist? I forgot to ask him when I had him on the show.
So one night, there's words that people just don't like, and to me, moist is one of those words, and I think Krista is the same way. And one day, out of the blue, for no particular reason, he texts her the message, moist. Sorry. I should have realized that you were drinking. Sorry. But, and it stuck. And ever since then, he's Mr. Moist. And, the stories I have from him, I can't say on the air. One night we were with a bunch of people, and I made a list of all the words and phrases that I learned that night, and it's quite a long list, and it's absolutely hilarious. I can't say it on a I don't want to say it on somebody else's show. Yeah. Right. I don't want to demonetize anybody, but it would demonetize people. But anyway, we were doing the investigation, and they were across the street. And while we were there, they were seeing like white lights in the trees, up high in the trees. And then they were hearing weird noises coming from the woods. Possibly there's like squatters that lived around the asylum too. We don't know for sure if that was the case. And it's kind of in a bowl-shaped location. So, things happen and it echoes all over the place. So we finished the investigation, got some growl. We were doing the dowsing rods in the basement and got growled at. And we all heard that. That was very audible. And when we got back, Bryan and Krista were sitting outside, and they kept saying, yeah, we've heard all kinds of noises. We saw a lot of lights and everything, and we told them about what we did. And then we're all sitting out there kind of, chatting, drinking beer, whatever. And we keep seeing these lights in the trees. I've never really seen an orb, so I'm assuming it was like bright white lights. I mean, like true white lights. So nothing happened. We heard weird sounds and stuff. We all went to bed in different beds. And the next morning, everybody left. I was taking Natalie to the airport, and she wanted to go back across the street to Emmaus to film a few things, and she did. And I didn't want to bother her, so I stayed kind of on the driveway close to where we were, kind of listening. And I kept hearing what I think was possibly tree knocks. But it was more like, and then didn't have the, anyway.
So you're thinking like it was kind of like Bigfoot doing some knocks, probably to tell you to stay away or tell other Bigfoots that you're in the area, maybe.
Could have been. But then somebody said, well, it could have been the people that live there building something. I'm like,
Okay.
that's not the hammering sound. I mean, the hammering sound, that's
It's
that's what a
different.
hammer
Yeah.
sounds to me. I mean, it was more boom, boom every second or every other second, and it was constant. It was the same pattern. So I don't know if it was that or not. I mean, somebody said it could be somebody chopping wood. I mean, that's a possibility. So Natalie finished her filming and stuff, and we were kind of walking the tree lines, and it was September. I was in shorts and tennis shoes. Wasn't dressed to go into the woods, so we kind of stayed on the tree line. And sure enough, I'm going to pull it up on my phone. I should have emailed this to you or sent it to you. I found an 18-inch footprint, 18 and a half inch footprint. And I took a picture of it with Natalie's small little itty bitty feet next to it. And it's clearly something there. I don't know what it could have been. It was like 20 yards from where we slept that night. Really
Interesting.
kind of creepy. I showed it to Bryan, and he swears it was a Dogman print. And for the life of me, oh, here it is. There's kind of
Bring
a
it in a
glare.
bit closer. Oh, yeah, it is a big print, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
Wow.
that's her little foot. I mean you can see the heel back by her,
Right.
and the green screen's getting through
Yeah,
the
and you can see the toes and everything.
toes up on top. Yeah, so and
Wow.
it's funny. Ever since then, I was big ghost UFO, and ever since then that's all I wanted to do is talk
Ghost
about
watching.
Bigfoot and yeah, learn about Bigfoot and do more of that stuff. And I
Makes me
think it.
think about the last show that I seen for Project Fear. They whenever anybody thinks of paranormal, they always think, oh, ghosts, or they don't
Mhm.
usually think about UFO or Bigfoot. Well, there's two camps with the Bigfoot, right? There's woo and there's biological, but they saw some prints that night, and they were hearing all kinds of weird noises too, like wood
Mhm.
knocks and stuff. So who knows? Like maybe there is a crossover
Yeah.
in the woo and the biological. Who knows, right?
And then, how do you explain the orbs always
Yes.
showing up when, well, not always, but most of the time, I guess, showing up when Bigfoot's around? Um, I mean,
What do
how
you
do you
think? Do
explain?
you think that's a portal that they popped out of, or do you think that's them using their own type of drone?
Oh, I never thought of their own drone issue before. I mean, that could very well be. I mean, I really think that somehow they are physical beings to leave these massive prints. I mean, who else has a 18 and a half foot 18 and a half inch print.
Yeah.
But then how do we not find them? I mean, I realize that they are masters of hide and seek, and they'll hide and show themselves when we're ready for it. But I
Well,
really think
maybe
that it's.
our vision, like I think that, okay, yeah, I believe in the biological type of Bigfoot, like, but maybe our vision just can't see them the
Mhm.
same way as like you put on an insect lens, for example, infrared, and then you can see certain things. Well,
Mhm.
maybe they have a certain type of camouflage, like an octopus, where we can't
Mhm.
see them unless we got the infrared going.
Yeah, I've thought of that too with their fur or whatever, the hair or whatever it is that they have, that maybe that's some kind of transparency that they can
Right.
do something and boom, they're gone. I mean,
Yes.
who knows? I
Yeah.
mean, will we ever find out for sure? Probably not, in our lifetime. But it's very interesting to hear them and learn about them, and hear all these stories of people who have had encounters with them. One of my favorite ones is BMR's unfortunate incident with it. But yeah, I've
Out on the
doing.
lake, right? With
Yeah,
his
with his girlfriend or fiance, I can't
right,
remember
with
which
his
one it was,
honey.
but
Yep.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I after hearing that story and getting to know Rob, and I mean he's an awesome guy, one of my good friends with us, part of the Misfits.
Big shout out to BMR, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. If you
I
don't
think he has the
follow
same
him,
bandana as I do.
he might, yeah.
I know he has one of them that we have the same one.
Yeah, he likes pirate stuff too. Arr.
Oh yeah. But I mean, hearing his story and him talking about that he needed to do a show like this for therapy with all this stuff, all the things that were going on with him. It's really, really cool to realize that, there's other people out there that have these same encounters who might be afraid to come forward.
That's right. Yeah.
And
he wrote about it in 2 books too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's kind of what I say too in my show and stuff and chat. That we don't tolerate people making fun of other people, and yeah, you might not believe everything the guest is saying or whatever, but have an open mind. There's no reason to to make fun of people or be rude, make rude comments about them.
Well, that's part of the reason why we do this. As people say, well, why do you podcast in the first place? Well, to talk with other people or like-minded people, I mean, we all have our different theories and stuff like that, but it's great just to get out there and talk to other people who have experienced the same thing without feeling like, oh, they're going to laugh at me or something like that. Right.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've got a lot of different of your own shows besides this one. You just started a new one, the Morning Mix.
Morning Mix.
Yeah, congratulations on that one.
Thank you. It's 2 shows down now, and it's kind of fun. It's completely not in paranormal. I've always wanted to do. This is going back to when I was a teenager, many years ago. I've always wanted to do like a radio morning show, talk show type thing. And this is my YouTube attempt to do that. So,
well, I was going to tell you, your voice is very radio-ish, like nice and deep and nice, like a coffee blend, nice, smooth.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, and I've heard that a couple times, and I appreciate that. And that's kind of why I wanted to do it. And unfortunately, you have to look at me too. I guess you can turn the camera off. But a lot of podcasters are like that. They want to show their face. And for years I didn't want to show my face either. It was only in season 3 that I actually showed my face. I was just only pure radio. So yeah, I guess more people want the StreamYard. They want the video. So get out there. Who cares what people think? Get out there, do it. You only see people from here up. It's you don't see all of the person. I mean, it's just fun, And then when people do see you at like a conference or something, and like, oh wow, you're taller than I thought, or whatever. But I like this where you kind of have in your mind what somebody looks like based on their voice, because a lot of radio personalities that I've grown up listening to don't match their voice from their physical being. And stuff. So
you're gonna hear my new kitty cat throwing things on the floor soon because she's in the room where I am. So sorry if you hear things falling on the floor.
That's fine.
But yeah, so you're with Paranormal Among Us, the Morning Mix, and then of course you come on with your own show with the Blondes and Booze and a couple of different things, right? Do you want to talk more about your different podcasts?
Well, I fill in with them every now and then, but now that Blondes and Booze have 4 ladies on there, there's no room for a middle-aged, gray-haired guy, so that's fine. But I'll go on there every now and then if they need help, or in BMR show or somebody else's show. Before this, I did a lot of sports podcasts.
There's one thing that fell on the floor.
As long as it's the cat. It's fine.
She's throwing her brother's food on the floor, so I don't know what that's all about.
Well, it's a cat. I don't think we're supposed to understand what they do. But I'll jump on other people's show and help them out and stuff, and be guest or whatever on them. So it's fun. I just love doing this. I love helping good people out.
Well, your dogs are always welcome on the show too. I know a lot of people try to bar their pets out of the room that they're doing the podcast in, and then
Yep.
the animals like crying or barking at the door. Let me in. Why do you have me out here?
Yeah, exactly. But
Do you
I
ever
always
have?
keep my door closed because they make too much noise in the other room and stuff, and keep my wife and son out of here. So
Okay, so they don't join you very often.
no, they don't.
No.
No, they don't. But I kind of teased this before with my forever connection with Brian Bowden, and we all know he's a very, very gifted remote viewer.
He is. I was just going to mention that when you were talking about the orbs and stuff, I was going to ask you, because I know at a couple events they did do a few CE5 events. I was going to ask, was he doing at one of those? And I wish I had a picture of him to throw up here. Unfortunately, I don't have one here to throw up.
No, we weren't doing any CE5 or anything, but we were actually on, I believe it was on BMR's late night Saturday show.
Okay.
And me, Krista, Brandy, one of our friends, Terry Mosby, Kathy, Aaron, and a few others were down at Arcadia, Missouri, at a place called Arcadia Academy, I think it was. And Bryan, of course, is in Florida. He'd never been to this place before. So we're on BMR show. Bryan was in chat. Terry brings along, she has a God's helmet. I don't know if you guys know what a God's helmet is.
No, for the people listening around the world who don't know what it is, to explain to them what it is.
So it kind of like picture
Like an Estes type of thing, isn't it? I think.
No, it's a helmet that you wear. It kind of looks like one of the Transformers. I want to say Bumblebee Transformer, but it's a helmet that really, really looks like one of the Transformers. It has the little ears that go up, almost like the Batman ears, but it comes down. But this is retrofitted with like red lights that come around right above your forehead and stuff. And it's supposed to, I guess, put you in a more relaxive state so you can see things a little bit better. And I've always been kind of leery about going in under one of those because I've never really, still haven't really seen spirits or shadow figures or anything. So I've really been kind of leery. I'm as I'm going through this, I'm opening up more, and I'm hoping things show themselves more now. But anyway, Terry's doing the God's helmet, and she's sitting on a couch. To her left, no, to her right, my left, is the wall. I'm filming her on my camera. To my right, her left is like 3 steps down and it goes down to a little room, and then there's like a washroom off of that, laundry room or something like that. And this building that we're in used to be an old Civil War hospital.
Ooh,
So
nice. Okay.
it was all brick. We were in this room. It was just me and her in there. And it just off a little ways away from us where we were was Krista and Brandy. Excuse me. They were doing also on the show with BMR. So I'm filming her, and she's saying that she sees this guy down at the bottom of these 3 steps, just kind of standing there watching us, and he's in like Civil War era outfit and stuff. And he keeps going in and out of this where the laundry room is. And then behind me, she sees like nurses and stuff running back and forth like they're taking care of their patients. And then she's seeing 2 people behind me kind of looking over my shoulder like, oh, what's that little piece of it? What is that little contraption he's using? So, Civil War era people, they didn't know what cell phones were. So we usually go about 15 minutes with the God's helmet, and she finished her 15 minutes. And again, Bryan was in chat and everything. And he's kind of picking this place apart. Like, okay, you guys need to go here and need to go here. And he's very accurate with this. For again, never been there. So
Yeah, he's
BMR,
really good with remote viewing.
it's kind of scary. Can't hide. Bryan, stop it. So BMR, I don't know if he was joking, but he said, hey, Paul, why don't you put the God's helmet on? And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do it for you, BMR. So right after he asked me that, so Bryan was in chat. BMR finally said, just come on the show. So he was in the studio with him, and Bryan's telling me, okay, go out of the building that you're in, make a left, go down this little driveway. You're going to see a doorway with a white awning on it. Go in that door, make a right, and you're going to want to go in that room. And I'm like, how the hell did you know what? So I'm like, okay, I'll find it. So I'm walking out. Sure enough, walked out, make a left down the little driveway. There's this door with a white awning on it. Okay. I walked in there, and at this point, I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was great.
That good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it's scary good.
Yeah. So there was a room right off the right. We went in. So this room has a really long, probably about 8-10 foot long table in it. And on the left and right side of the room are two probably 7 foot doors with windows up on top. I guess the old smoke windows or whatever they had back in the day. So I'm sitting at the head of the table. Terry was filming me, and somebody else was behind her. Joelle, I think her name was. So there's those two and me in the room, and I knew that. So right as I'm about to put the helmet on, I hear Bryan tell me, Paul, take a deep breath. Something really incredible is going to happen.
No.
I'm like, okay. So I did that, and I put the helmet on, and the lights are going, and then all I saw was that white static, like when the networks go out or whatever, you just see the white noise on TV.
Right.
That's all I saw, and it didn't really change or anything. It was just that. It maybe got a little bit lighter or darker, but it was basically just that. And I knew Terry and Jolene were just off to my right. But I could sense somebody else down at the end of the table. And, I said that to Bryan. I said, I know there's something else at the end of the table with me. And he's like, yeah, it's like an older man, probably 70s, slick back gray hair, needs to shave. And I'm like, is that my grandpa? And right when I said that, Bryan said, yeah, he's smiling real big right now.
Oh,
like, okay, interesting.
I love benevolent spirits.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, grandpa's here, what's going on? And then I feel something behind me. And I'm like, and then Bryan's like, there's another person there with you, not as old, but he's there with you. And I'm like, and that you can sense when family's around.
Right.
Like, is that my dad?
Oh,
And
wow.
he said, yeah, he was smiling real big at me and everything. And he said he had his hand on my shoulder. I didn't feel it, but he said he had his hand on my shoulder and everything. So I'm like, okay, I have a family reunion going on now. And then Bryan said that, and again, I'm still seeing this whiteness. I could sense Grandpa there. I can sense Dad here. I knew Terry and Jolene were there. Bryan says that there is a bunch of other family members around, keeping things out of the room. That was
So they were protecting you. That's my cat again.
I was gonna say, that was perfectly timed too, by the way.
She's throwing stuff on the floor.
But there's all kinds of family members keeping things outside the rooms for us. But, well, I'll get to that in a second. So everything's being kept out. And I'm like, okay. So I close my eyes, and I'm really, really, at this point, I'm really, really trying to see Grandpa and see Dad. So I'm really, really trying. And, I open my eyes, and I still kind of see the white noise in front of me and everything. But it's getting a little darker, and I can see the room better around me. And I look up on my right, past the two girls who are filming me, above the door, about equal height as that the window is above the door, so probably about 8 feet up, 7, 8 feet up, whatever. I saw a gray alien head.
Ooh.
And I'm like, what the
So
hell is that
your
doing there?
family were protecting you from the gray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that pretty much falls in line with every time I go someplace, I take my dad's rosary that he left me,
Okay.
and I always, I was a grandma's boy. I always pray to them, pray to mom and dad, because your parents are never going to let anything hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Family members are always going to protect you. So I always pray to them, just keep me safe. Don't let anything happen to me. And even before this, I kind of did that, with grandma and stuff. Just kind of keep me safe, watch over me. And I know she does. And I'm sure right now, if there's a medium out there watching this, I'm sure they're back here somewhere. That's happened before. But I know there, and I do that every time I go someplace. So yeah, I really do believe that they were doing that. 100% that they were doing
I
that.
love
And
that.
and for
Yeah.
Bryan to see that and we're forever connected now. I mean, no matter where we're at, whatever our journeys go with me and Bryan, that he will always be the one that brought me to this very, very cool little family reunion that
Realization.
I have. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you
So
never really thought about that before, did you?
right, no,
Did you
no,
ever catch them on anything like paranormally when you were doing
nope.
investigations with your family or
Well,
anything
no,
like
that's not
that?
true. One time, again, back in September, before we went to Emmaus, we were at Ray County Museum.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the same room that I got scratched earlier, maybe the year before, and we were actually communicating with the spirit that said that they scratched me, and there's like 7 other spirits in there,
Okay.
and the name Gus came through,
Gus.
and I'm like, that's my dad's dad.
Hmm.
And I'm like, Grandpa, is that you? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
And all
they were
this
there
is coming
protecting
through.
you.
Yeah, yeah. All
Yeah.
this is coming from, I was walking through with Jilly Maria, who's a medium who I've had on the show several times, and she's just an awesome person. Very, very accurate. Walking around that place with her was just absolutely amazing because, she'll stop, turn to the wall, and start talking to it like somebody's there. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So,
Yeah, we've investigated in our house quite often, and we've found a lot of family spirit here a lot. And actually, when we're out on site on investigations or just doing rando investigations out driving
mhm.
around, we'll have family stuff come through, which is
Oh
nice,
yeah.
right?
Well,
To know that they're kind of watching over you.
when my son was really little, probably about 2, 3, maybe, my wife's dad died like less than a month before we got married,
Oh,
and
sorry.
she was talking to my son about him. Thank you. Uh, she was talking to my son about him, and I don't remember what the context was, but he's like, 'cause he was a smoker, and
Okay.
Thomas, my son, look, oh, like that guy over there smoking or with the puffer, and that's what her dad called it, with the
Okay.
puffer in his hand. And she looked, no one was there. So okay. And I've always believed and have heard that young kids are more sensitive to this kind of
Yes.
stuff, and they can see
Hmm.
that stuff. So I really do think, and my dad, I've smelt my dad's cologne, kind of waft past me down in the basement a couple times. So yeah,
Love that.
I think they're there, and it makes sense. I mean, they're
It's
out.
funny you mentioned that, the basement. Just the other day, my husband was, I don't know, taking garbage downstairs or doing something with, I don't know, moving from another room to another room, coming upstairs. And we heard this big bang, and we are like, is that the cats again? And we're like, no, they're both with us. We couldn't figure out where the big bang came from. So we went through some of the security footage, and there were these, I'd say about 4 to 5 orbs just vroom, vroom. I was like,
Oh,
oh my gosh. I said, is that dust? We're like, no, because then we looked at like a bunch of other ones. There was no other dust coming up on them because the
hmm,
infrared, right?
yeah.
So, and there's no bugs down there because it's winter. So
Oh
it was
wow.
really cool. And that area of the house is where apparently he had a cat that passed away. In fact, Sin Schrader Hill wrote a book and put some of that stuff in her book about that
Mhm.
cat. But yeah, we have a lot of like weird activity in our house.
Oh, that's cool. That's
And it's
cool.
not like an old house. Tell me
Yeah.
some about some of your stories.
Well, they're all, you mean my writings like you have up there? I've kind of always wanted to do this, just like write short stories. And they're all fiction, but it's based on real events. One I just finished was called the Devil's House. When I was, and part of the story is four friends work at a restaurant here in town, and somebody knew of this really creepy, dilapidated old house close to where we worked. And so after work one time, we drove out and went to see it,
Okay.
and it was creepy. And this was
Was
before I
it?
was ever into this. I don't know if it's still there or not, but I kind of took stuff of what I've learned through doing this, and then made it into a fictional story based on four friends who work at a restaurant go to see this thing. And then just a couple other fun stories, paranormal stories. But the writings I do are definitely fictional. I'm never going to put anybody's name in it or anything that actually happened to, or somebody that I actually know. Everything's made up 100% on the writings. On my investigations, however, everything is 100% true. I don't ever fake anything. I don't ever, well, I try not to over exaggerate things. But if something grabs you or whatever in the complete darkness and you're alone, yeah, that's a little bit. But but yeah, everything that
Yeah.
I do on investigations is 100% true and authentic. But all my writings and stuff is based on true things, but it's 100% fake.
Loved it.
So
And we were talking about your voice earlier. You're actually a voice actor.
yeah. I just completed a few classes with that, trying to get into doing that kind of things, doing commercials, doing audiobooks, fun stuff like that. Just looking for a way to get my broadcasting degree to actually pay for itself all these years later. But it's my cousin did this, and he kind of talked me into it, and finally now I'm getting into it, and it's fun. I love doing stuff like that, so it's cool.
Do you find a lot of stuff from your broadcasting degree helps you with doing, your Among Us podcast and things like that?
Oh yeah, I mean I used to have a sports show that aired on St. Louis Public Access in the city here, and it was like an interview show, pretty much exactly what we do here, but sports wise. So,
Okay.
a lot of the questions that I come up with and everything there I had scripted. I mean, everything on the show here is 100% off the cuff. I never write down questions or stuff. I just, go a little bit from the bio and then, let it just kind of flow naturally. But a lot of the stuff on back then, I mean, I had like a hockey coach on, players on, boxers on. I mean, it was just it was fun, and I've always loved doing that. I did the news a couple times for the TV station there, and it was fun. I had to get out of it for family reasons, but I've always loved doing it and stuff. And this is my attempt to get back into it. So I guess.
So I pulled up your link tree on the screen. So it's a link tree Paranormal Among Us 72 if you're trying to find it. And you can see his Paranormal Among Us there. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's on your tree?
Yeah, I mean the top one is going to be I think that's going straight to the YouTube channel Paranormal Among Us. I love doing that. I do that live shows every Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesdays at 6:30 Central, leading into BMR, and Wednesdays is 8:30 to 10 Central, and every Wednesday night.
Where do you get the time for all this stuff?
I have no idea.
I talk to a lot of people with multiple podcasts, and I think to myself, oh my God, where do they have time to do all this?
I don't. But I love doing this. My family supports me doing this, and as long as I have that combination going, I'll keep going with it. I mean, what I would really love to do is have like a Monday through Friday, like a morning show type thing, 3-4 hours or whatever, and then do the podcast at night. So if anybody out there wants to sponsor me to do this, that would be great. Thank you so much. But no, I mean, the top one's going to be the YouTube channel, I believe. Yeah, YouTube channel. And then the second one's going to be my voice actor page, has my demo reels on there. The next one is going to be my Paranormal Among Us website. That's going to have, I'm really bad at updating that. I have, when I first created it, I'm like, I'm going to put stories on there, put pictures on there every week, every month, maybe once a year. I don't know. I'll get around to it. But I have my writings on there, links to my merchandise store. I should have put that on the link tree. But it's all on the website there. And then where is it at? Then I have the Instagram and the Facebook page too. So
yeah, so everybody check out Paranormal Among Us, Paranormal Paul. He's all over the place. You'll find him everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll just stop screen on this and pull up something else. Yeah. So I like to look at in the background of when people talk. So you got your Paranormal Among Us poster. What's this other one behind you? Is that the moon or what is that?
What, this one here?
The other one, yeah.
That's just an ocean scene. I love dolphins. That's just an ocean scene. I have a UFO poster that my wife gave me that I want to replace that with, and I just haven't gotten around to do that. So.
And then you've got your other props there, and I think
this cat's going crazy. Yeah.
She must be really hungry because my husband is not giving her kibble, and she keeps throwing her brother's food on the floor, hoping that it'll break open. And here comes my husband again to rescue.
Yeah, but those.
Oh my gosh.
Those are not real skeletons. They're props.
The ones that you have behind you there.
Yeah, those are props. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you being on the show tonight.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate you asking me.
Shout outs to some of your people.
Oh, yeah. Certainly.
That was oh my God. Running around the kitchen.
I don't want to be on TV, Mom.
No, I think she's really hungry. Oh my gosh. We just literally got her from the SPCA like a couple weeks ago. But
wow.
Yeah.
But one of the people I want to give a huge shout out to is Krista from Blondes and Booze. Her and Brandy were the first two that I met, and from them, I think I was going for maybe 6 months or so before I met them, and ever since I've met them, Brandy's wonderful, and so is Krista. But Krista has she's my co-host on Wednesday night. She was my co-host when I had a Saturday night show. I mean, she's introduced me to so many people. They both have, Tex, BMR, Bryan, Monica, Natalie. I met Natalie down at Townsend. Greg. I have the.
How did you manage to get with the Island of Misfits? How did you manage to bump into this crowd?
Well, with Krista. I mean, and Randy and Monica.
Yeah.
And Donnie. But no, I mean, they had a falling out with somebody, and they wanted to add me. And they just, I talked to Tex a little bit, and he welcomed me. He's like a old crabby uncle. But no, I love Tex. He's fantastic. We did a morning show. But we just couldn't get on the same schedule and stuff, so that kind of fizzled out.
That's the thing, right? When you do a podcast, it's so hard to wrangle other podcasters into another schedule.
Yeah. But we all as a group, we did a conference together. I don't know if we're going to do another one. It was really tough and a lot of work on some of the people to do it. So
but it looked really fun, though.
It was a blast. It was an absolute blast. And without all these people, every single one of them, I wouldn't be doing this still. And they're like family. And without them, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met a lot of people. And I think I told you this before that, I mean, you're certainly included in this, that, every person that I meet, not every, I should say most of the people that I meet are just 100% fantastic people. And you're certainly included in that, as we've texted before and gotten to know each other a little bit.
Paul.
So
yeah, and you are as well. You're now part of the PNL Podcast Alumni-Network.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to hook you up with a few folks tonight, actually.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So everybody, thank you so much for listening in to Paranormal Paul tonight with us on UPRN, United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 FM on that Gulf. So we're going to leave tonight with some BOG Team music. Let's see. We got rock. We got metal, 80s. We even got some folk stuff. What would you like to hear?
Let's do some metal stuff. I've been into that lately.
Metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. I think I'll put my lead-in music back on. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Make sure you go and you subscribe to Paranormal Paul, Paranormal Among Us, and his morning mix, and all of his other podcasts that he told you about. You're going to love him. And thanks for tuning in again to you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Jen.
Yay. Let me pull something up on the screen here and get the tunes going.
Investigations are key. Across rugged shores and